We never imagined her case would remain unsolved 5 years later.
It's not a cold case, it's an active case.
We love all our children with all our heart, and we do anything to have them back with us as a family.
It's been 5 years since then 5-year-old Summer Wells went missing from her Hawkins County home. Despite the fact investigators say this is not a cold case, we still know few details about what might have happened to her.
Wells would now be 10 years old, and publicly there are very few details that have been released about this case in the last several years.
Today, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush released a statement via social media saying this is still very much an active case and they're doing everything they can to bring Summer home.
We have made progress over the last year, but there are still many unanswered questions. We continue to urge anyone with firsthand information regarding Summer's disappearance to come forward.
This case has been a tough one for investigators from the beginning, with many twists and turns from the moment that Wells was first reported missing. June 15th, 2021, Summer Wells was first reported missing around 6:30 p.m. Searchers combing the area around her house throughout the night. At 12:07 a.m. on June the 16th, an endangered child alert was issued. That same day, it was upgraded to an Amber Alert. On June 25th, investigators asked for help in finding a red Tacoma truck that might be a witness in the case. Police have not said if that witness was ever located. 2 days later, the search for Summer Wells was scaled back. The TBI tells reporters they had over 500 leads in the case up to that point. In July, the private firm EQQU Search comes to Hawkins County to search for Summer Wells. The number of tips in the case goes over 1,000. In October, Summer's father, Don Wells, was arrested for DUI. February 4th of 2022 marks Summer's 6th birthday. In March of that same year, investigators telling us that the Wells family is no longer cooperating with their investigation. June 15th, 2022 marked the 1-year mark since Summer's disappearance. Investigators have conducted over 170 interviews from tips they have received. Also in June of 2022, a lawsuit was filed over the reward money in the case. It was supposed to be donated after 1 year if Summer had not been found. February 4th of 2023 marks Summer's 7th birthday, the second since she went missing. Later that month, a judge ordered that the reward money in the case would be donated to the Children's Advocacy Center.
If Summer Wells is located alive, she likely looks very different than when she went missing 5 years ago. That's why the TBI releases age progression photos. The photo on the left is Wells at age 5 when she went missing. The middle is the age progression photo the TBI released in 2023. And the photo in the right is the age progression photo released last year. The photos are updated every 2 years.
As years go by, the case becomes statistically more difficult to solve.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson sat down with News 5's Rebecca Pepin about the case. He addressed how law enforcement came together from across the region and the difficulties they faced.
Well, this is the hardest case that I had to deal with.
Once on scene, Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said it quickly became clear things were going to get complicated.
We really didn't know a whole lot till we really got on scene, and they were officers first on scene was talking, to the parents and stuff and scene, and was wondering, what happened to Summer, that she wandered off or what happened.
A search of the Wells home became much bigger.
As this was progressing, it was going to be even more that we're going to have to probably do a search in the land.
Sheriff Lawson initially requesting assistance from local rescue squads, EMS, and fire departments. But with no sign of Summer, the urgency grew as did the size of the search party.
We sent it out over the wire, and we had tremendous response from different agencies all over East Tennessee and even Southwest Virginia and local, state. Eventually federal showed up, and it was just overwhelming response. Amazing that people showed up.
They covered numerous acres on the family property and scoured another 3,000 in the initial days of the search, with no shortage of manpower for this intense mission.
It just kept coming and stayed for days and days and days, and it was just overwhelming, the response. It was a blessing to me.
Sheriff Lawson also addressing the roadblocks they faced.
I think that dealing with the family, with them not coming through with information, that I feel like they had more that they could have let us, in on earlier, but knowing exactly what really happened to her, it makes it difficult.
The rumors circulating also exasperating for investigators.
A lot of the fake stuff on social media, the psychics, the YouTubers, they've hampered this case a lot because they spread a lot of false information. And that ties up manpower when you have to look into stuff like that.
What has been the most frustrating part of this case?
Not finding her. I know people talks about it being a cold case. Just in the last month, we've had 19 different tips we've looked into. It's not cold case, it's an active case.
And it will remain active even as Sheriff Lawson prepares to step away from the job at the end of August after 5 decades in law enforcement.
You've had some very tough cases. Now you're about to step away. Is this the case that's going to haunt you?
Oh, absolutely. When you lose a child, it's not even mine, but under my watch, absolutely.
In Hawkins County, Rebecca Pepin, News 5 WCYB.
Lawson officially retires as Hawkins County Sheriff on August 31st.
The wheels of justice grind low and slow, but they grind fine.
When News 5 at 6 returns, we will talk to the man that will likely be the next sheriff of Hawkins County about how he plans to move forward with the investigation when he takes office in the fall.
Comfortable summer weather has arrived in the Tri-Cities, so how long will the low humidity and mild temperatures last? I'll let you know coming up after the break.
Sky 5 is sponsored by Steve Huff Plumbing, Heating and Air. Salute You is brought to you by Johnson City Honda.
We continue our salute to local veterans and active military personnel. Tonight, we recognize Jeff Lawson of Big Stone Gap. Jeff served in the U.S. Navy aboard the USS Ranger from 1980 to 1983. Jeff Lawson, we thank you for your service, and we salute you.
As the search for Summer Wells enters its 6th year, incoming Hawkins County Sheriff Scott Stewart is hoping to provide a fresh new set of eyes on the case.
Stewart is a member of the Hawkins County Rescue Squad. He was on scene in the hours after Wells went missing, assisting in the search. Stewart says he knows that the community desperately wants answers, but he's asking for patience during the upcoming transition.
Give us a little time to get settled and get some things in order, basically get the house in order, and I promise you, if there's something we can do, if there's somebody that can help, we will be more than happy to sit down at the table and talk to them about that.
If you have any information that might help investigators find out what happened to Summer Wells, you're encouraged to contact the TBI. That number is 1-800-TBI-FIND. Again, that's 1-800-824-3463. As the search for Summer Wells hits the 5-year mark, how likely is it that she will be found alive?
We can hold on to that because we've seen it happen in the past.
We'll talk with the Center for Missing and Exploited Children on where the search goes from here.
Well, I'm calling it a quiet and comfy overnight, but how long will the low humidity last? And I'm also tracking some scattered late week rain and storms. Find out when, coming up in my Storm Track 5 forecast.
5 years after Summer Wells first went missing, the work to find her can look different, but in many ways, it's still the same.
News 5's Kayla Perney talked to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about how you can help.
In the first days after Summer went missing, the search looked like this, an intense ground operation. Though that is long ended, John Bischoff at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says that does not mean they aren't still looking.
How does what you guys do and what investigators do change as more time passes, or does it stay the same?
You know, a lot depends on the information that's coming in from the public. You know, it's firmly believed someone knows, you know, what happened with this child, and then they may have the slightest bit of information, the slightest detail that they themselves might not realize is that important.
Bischoff says one of the key things you can do is share the missing person posters, even if you live states away.
Unless you're directly tied to a missing child case, as days turn into weeks and sometimes turns into months and if not years, you may forget that a child's even missing in your area.
The center also provides care for families and resources to help investigators in the search. Still, Bischoff says every case is unique.
Do you have a gauge on, you know, how often cases are solved at the 5-year mark, or if this is something that, you know, sometimes at 10 or 20, I don't know.
As time goes on, and unfortunately in Summer's case, you know, we're just hitting the 5-year mark. That doesn't stop the hope that we have that we're going to find Summer. We as an organization, one of our foundational blocks is just that hope, that we're going to find these children after long periods of time. And we can hold on to that because we've seen it happen in the past.
Caleb Perney, News 5, WCYB.
To see continuing coverage of the search for Summer Wells, you can find more stories on our website, WCYB.com.